Yes, it was quite an interesting life. Matter of fact, I'd go back to it tomorrow.
Distinguished guests, Connies, Gunzels, ladies and gentlemen. This exhibition explores the world of Victoria's trammy family, its culturally diverse trammies, trams, and Victoria's rather eccentric tram tradition. This exhibition has been produced in collaboration with Gregor McCaskey, the enthusiastic staff at the Immigration Museum, and the Connies Performance Troupe. Special thanks to Normie Maddox, hope he's here tonight, from the Melbourne Tramways Museum, the former Trammie and President of the Tramways Union, Warren Doubleday, and the crew at the Ballarat Tram Museum, Dennis O'Hoy, Darren Hutchinson, and Kim Smith, and the Trammies from the Bendigo Tramways. Special thanks also to the Melbourne Trammies, of which a number are present here this evening, and my old mates from the South Melbourne Depot, of whom I had a wonderful 10 years with, mostly spent on the bag. We thank Vic Health, who have sponsored this exhibition through their Arts for Health program. When you travel around through this exhibition, you'll see beautiful models of trams, a Bendigo Burnie, 658W class, cables, Zs and As. You'll see framed photos of the Melbourne Depot Harmonica Band from the 1930s and the first graduation class of women Connie conductresses from 1941. Hear a cheeky BBC radio interview of 5 trammies and journey past books, badges and uniforms. Taste a little of the Melbourne Calcutta Tram Jatra, Tramways Friendship, and explore the habits and ritual of the tram enthusiast Gunzel. We set out to produce a storyline that puts our tram world into context. The influence of Major General Sir Robert Risen, the Italian-born Union delegate from Essendon Depot, who led the campaign to save the Footscray-Mooney Ponds tram line. The Dutch-born delegate from South Melbourne, keen on Connies, the Trammy family. The exhibition celebrates Melbourne's 118 years of rare and continuous tram tradition, one of the 5 largest tram systems in the world, and the only true surviving tram system in all the English-speaking world. As they say in Calcutta, Zindabad, Zindabad, long may she live.
May we introduce Mr. R.J. Risson, Chairman of the Tramways Board.
Yes, nothing of course just happens, or if it does, it probably happens wrongly. A great deal of pre-planning is necessary. And in transport, and maybe other things too, the simpler and smoother a thing appears on the surface, the greater the amount of work probably put into it beforehand. My point is well illustrated by this map, showing the board's tram and bus services interweaving and crisscrossing over, some 200 square miles of metropolitan Melbourne. At present, the board has upwards of 4,500 employees, most of them, of course, in uniform, but quite a large number not in uniform backing them up. And it could do with another 200 or 300 right now.
Just look at that, will you? Great monster. All they do is cause congestion and block up the road.
But surely it's the other way around, Mr. Johnson. It's you who's blocking the tram.
Oh, that's not the point, old man. The roads belong to cars. If I had my way, I'd get rid of trams altogether.
All right, we'll give your recommendation a try. Let's see. Yes, this should do. There, that's fine. Now let's take the tram out of the picture. It certainly leaves a nice wide space. Ah, but we forgot. That tram was carrying 90 passengers, Mr. Johnson. How do we get those 90 passengers to work, now that their tram is gone?
Simple, old man. Let them drive cars.
Thank you. Now, statistics show that each car driven to the city contains an average of 1 1/4 people. Now, 1 1/4 into 90, yes, that's about 70 cars.
Good heavens.
As you can see, these cars, even when they're jammed head to tail, take up 20 times more road space than the tram did. Multiply them by several thousand peak period tram trips a day, and you'd have 1/3 of a million additional cars on the road. There'd be such traffic chaos that none of us would ever get to work. Oh no, Mr. Johnson. Trams don't cause traffic congestion. They help to minimize it.
All right then. I was mistaken. You can't accommodate all the city's tram passengers and cars. Well, replace the trams with buses then.
Certainly. Buses coming up.
Hey, wait a minute. You've replaced that tram with more than one bus. You've got 2 1/3 buses.
I had to. A bus has a far smaller passenger carrying capacity than a tram. The Tramways Board is in the bus business, in a big way. But it confines its buses to areas of sparser population. Melbourne's densely populated areas need trams. In situations like these, trams are the motorist's best friend. They help keep the roads clear of traffic that would prevent you from driving at all. When it comes to moving large crowds, there's no vehicle more efficient than a tram. While cars are still struggling to get free of the parking area, the trams are off and away. Already they've cleared most of the crowd. But that's only part of the story. Trams are good citizens of Melbourne too. If you have a little time to spare, I'll show you some of the many ways in which trams contribute to the good life of Melbourne. First and most obviously, there's the transport service they provide. Whichever direction you want to go in the Melbourne area, there's a tram or bus to take you comfortably and safely.
Here we are at the Immigration Museum on Flinders Street in the city of Melbourne, and I'm here today to have a chat to a number of people who've been involved in the history of the tram world. And the first person we're going to speak to today is Fortunato Grosso, and he's been heavily involved with the tram since 1983. First question I have to ask you, Fortunato, is how did you become involved with the tramways? Can you tell us a little bit of that history?
I started as a conductor in 1993 at Melbourne Depot, and I'm still there working as a driver at the moment. I'm 65 and still working.
And can you tell us a little bit about life in the Melbourne Depot? What's it like?
It's like a family depot. It's everyone knows everyone. We try to help each other. It's a good between us, and everyone helps each other. What I can tell you that when I started working at Melbourne Depot, that was like a family job, really. Like I start there because my uncle was working there, my brother was working there, and so many people was like that. Now it's changing, it's not like before, but before was like a family job, really. Everyone knows everyone.
And now it's different?
Now it's different because it's not like before, really.
Welcome to the Immigration Museum. Folks, we have with us this afternoon Joyce Barry, Joyce was the first woman to drive trams in Melbourne back in 1975. So welcome, Joyce. Joyce, do you want to tell us what depots you worked at and when you started in the tramways as just the first port of call for us?
The first port of call was Brunswick Depot, and I was there for 18 and a half years.
Did you have a favourite tram line?
Yes, Brunswick to the city.
Brunswick to the city, Sydney Road? What shifts did you prefer doing, just to give people a little bit of an insight into the depot life, the life of a trammie in that era? Were you an early shift woman, broken shift, lates?
Broken shifts mainly.
And what was it sort of like? You'd be starting work 6:30, 7 o'clock?
Yes. Yes, about 7 o'clock you'd do broken shifts. You'd go off at 11 and come back on again about 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Tell me, when you were a conductress, what was the biggest take that you used to have on a day?
How much did you collect, Joyce? And you saw decimal currency change as well.
How much do you think you would take on a busy shift?
Well, the record still stands in Brunswick.
Yes.
Yes.
It was taken by a girl doing a Sunday afternoon shift.
Sunday afternoon.
She took £408.
God, crikey, £408. Joyce, you were saying how some depots were very, in a sense, progressive towards women becoming tram drivers. Some depots were against it.
No, only Preston and Essendon were very much against us.
Yes.
In fact, they were downright rude.
Was there any reason for it that some depots were like that and others weren't?
Only because of the union delegates.
So it came down to the union delegates, you think? The character of those?
Yeah. For instance, Jimmy's the union delegate at Essendon then, and he put it around the depots that he wouldn't work behind a woman. She'd have to have balls before he'd work behind a woman.
Joyce, you started in the year of the Olympic Games, when the Olympic Games came to Melbourne.
Yes.
Any memories at all that stand out there?
My word, there are.
Any you want to share with us at all?
Well, some of them are funny.
Yes.
But I had a woman come up to me with a little boy, and he was distressed, and she said to me, please, quick. Oh. And it was the actions for somebody for the toilet.
Yes. Okay.
And I just grabbed the little boy by the hand and ran across Swanson Street amongst the traffic, leaving Mum behind.